Shout out Big Steve.
What's up? What's up? Big Brand MMA 137 UFC Denver Namajunas Cortez. It feels like I haven't done a UFC breakdown in forever. Obviously, we had a break week. Usually, I would have already done a overview of my recap, should I say, of my bets on my early teas, which I did. But since then, because we did it so early, we had some regionals last week. So let's get into that and we'll get to this card. So after finishing the month just under 4,000, almost feels like break even. There was a lot of events, a lot of ups and downs. We had LFA Brazil, which it's a shit show, as I mentioned on the early teas. If you listened, I'm trying to stay away from those low regionals. They kind of burn me out, and my specialty is UFC. I've watched so much tape. I know these fighters so well, and a lot of time I can use memory, and we've got so much data. And all the opponents, all the fighters in there, you know exactly how these fighters breathe and everything. So I didn't really focus on it until last minute. Pretty much just had one bet. I think it was Diaz, one of the Brazilian squash matches versus Cote. Played the under 1.5, $1.44. Juicy, but I mean, end of the day, he caught the kick, countered him, and the guy just quit. He won in 20 seconds. So that looked 90%. That was a huge squash match. So won just under $1,000 there. I kept adding, obviously, horrible limits on Bet Online. One day I'll get props on some well-known bookies. Then, other than that, I bet OK Yoon in 1FC. That was my only bet when he went to plus 135, $2.35. I thought that was a pick and fight. Yoon does get grappled a lot in 1FC, but he wins every single decision. It's just the scoring is wild in 1FC. I pretty much see him as losing all these fights, and then the decision gets read and he's won by unanimous decision. So this Rasulov guy that he fought, extreme gas bag. I thought he was going to look better than some of his other wins. And look, Rasulov came in, missed the hydration test like 5 times. Came in on EPO, all made gas before Rasulov. And I still thought, OK Yoon won that fight. It was a back and forth 5-rounder, a lot of clinch work. Rasulov only got 2 takedowns in 5 rounds, so he did much better. It looked about pick'em. But yeah, somehow Rasulov won the unanimous decision. So just 1FC is just all over the place. You tape 6 fights, you watch a shit ton of grappling, and you're like, I've got to figure it out. And then, in my opinion, Yoon looks like he clearly won that fight, and he loses unanimous. So only like $600 there. I said I was going to be more aggressive, but that wasn't a fight I was going to go big on. And thankfully, we saw why. Won again all over the place. So $600 down there, but I won 900 and something. So plus 300 on for the week on LFA. And I hit a little bit of a boxing parlay. I played Babic and Foster under 3.5 rounds. Was over in I think a minute or 30 seconds or something. And I parlayed that with Diaz Masvidal to go to decision. 2 wash guys, 2 durable guys with boxing gloves. Never close to finishing. That was playing $1.44. My gut was telling me to hammer that, but because it's boxing, I was a bit scared, nervous. So yeah, I played a tiny bit. It was on my new account, Bet365 account. I put like $300 to win 500. So yeah, cheeky little 500 on boxing. Again, I'm not an expert, but I keep winning on my boxing bet, so that's good. So ended up 500 there, LFA 900. Ended up on $800 profit. It's something. There was no UFC. It was all not my favorite regional shows and some low-level boxing crap. So I'll take it. We start the month on profit. All right, let's get into this card, shall we? Greg Lee, Arlo CrossFit. How are you, mate? Thanks for tuning in. I assume most people in here will be Aussies at this time of day. Like and subscribe. All righty, so I've done a lot of tape for this card. 2 weeks to go and just ignoring regionals, definitely ignoring PFL Arabs. So yeah, let's see what we can get out of this. Josh Fremd versus Andrew Petroski. Really close to locking in Fremd. Obviously, I missed the plus money. Now he's minus money. But he's got his flaws, and his flaws are everything Petroski's good at. He's not physical, and he can be cracked. He's got tall man defense, and he can be taken down. Last time I forced a bet on him at minus money against my better judgment was against Treyshawn Gore, and he got guillotined, as predicted by everyone. And that in that fight, he got easily taken down by Trey Shango, and then he got backpacked in round 1, and he was more concerned by going for the guillotine instead of stuffing the takedown. And I think someone like Andre Petroski is a way better wrestler than someone like Gore. And then he was winning on the feet with the 1-2 and the volume, and Trey Shango really hated that pressure and the power, and which is why I laid the chalk on him. And I was like, beautiful, just keep doing this for 3 rounds. You might even get the KO. I think I had the under 2.5 as well, which kind of hedged me a little bit with the guillotine. And the guy just kept wanting to grapple. And I was like, what are you doing, man? And eventually he just put his head in the guillotine. That was one of my most tilting losses. He does that. He does that. Against Jamie Pickett, he kept grappling with Pickett, holding him against the cage. I know some people had the unders there. He really should have finished Pickett, but he's got low IQ, and, it's tough to back him. Andre Petroski can definitely take him down if he wants to. I thought he had really good submission defense. We've seen it against Anthony Hernandez and a bunch of other grapplers on the regionals. But, we've seen him submitted by Gore, so anything is possible. It's the IQ that might let him down. Andre Petroski does have an elite front choke, front headlock series, should I say. So I think Petroski can crack him. I think Petroski can take him down. But on the same token, I've been trying to fade this guy. Petroski's a flake. Only one of these guys is a flake and a quitter, which is why I want to play Fremd against my better judgment. I haven't pulled the trigger. I probably think I should leave it. I got to exercise some sort of discipline. But yeah, it's Fremd or pass for me. I'm thinking live bet. When he inevitably gets taken down or gets cracked or something, he's going to build into the fight like he usually does, providing he doesn't build and then initiates grappling constantly. But yeah, Fremd or pass for me. I thought about the under 1.5. Surprisingly decent plus money. I mean, Trey Shango under the 1.5. Joel Bauman. A lot of his regional fights have been finished under 1.5. Gregory Rodriguez knocked him out under 1.5. Cedric Dumas, I played the under there at Pick'em. Went over by 30 seconds. Unfortunate. Also, fight ended in sub. I think both these guys are live for a sub. My only issue is Petroski's durability is just dreadful. Getting knocked out by Jacob Malkoon's hip. Again, as I said on the early tease, hilarious that's Jacob Malkoon's only finish in the UFC. It's just super strange. Yeah. Fremd or pass, some unders or pass, maybe fight end in sub. It could be decent. I think both guys are live for it. Alrighty. Dogfather, let's go. We've got some foreigners in here. Parky, dog card, of course. It's always a dog card for you, mate. If you locked in a favorite on this card, I would just blindly tail you out of principle. Alrighty, Montel Jackson, Damon Blackshear. I have to agree here. Dog or pass. 2 hood gangsters going at it. Black on black crime. Yeah, it's whoa, oops. Yeah, it's dog or pass. I think Jackson really low volume. Loves to spam that 1-2, good technical boxing, good reach, but he can just end up in a low output affair, striking fight. When he went up against Julio Arce, 2 low output technical guys, really competitive, and then Julio Arce stole the round 1 with a takedown at the end. Julio, not the best wrestling at all. His goal is to get taken down quite a bit. Montel Jackson, offensively, he's a good wrestler. Defensively, that's one of the main reasons he lost his 2 fights in the UFC, and he lost round 1 to Julio Arce. Then after that, he kind of separated and got a knockdown in round 3. So always a slim margins kind of guy. I think Damon Blackshear is one of the better guys he's fought. Jesse Strader, JP Byers, all bums. Ronnie Yaha, horrible matchup for Yaya. Damon Blackshear never been knocked out. Almost against old mate Zalal. I think Zalal is a lot better than people think, and we've seen that he's growing into his own when he ran through old mate Billy. That was body shots and accumulation. He was still 2-0 up against Zalal. And ended up getting 10-8 and went to a draw. That was short notice. As we all know, Mario Batista was extremely short notice. Really high level twister on Jose Johnson. Jose Johnson has high level submission defense. I wrote that in my notes after taping him for the Abu Abusaya fight. And obviously you couldn't get the rear naked, but got the twister. He's a really high level grappler and scrambler. Gets to the back really well. So ultimately, I feel like he's probably going to go to decision, go the distance. Montel might have some knockdowns. He always does. I don't think he's going to finish Blackshear. I think Blackshear's wrestling is not the best. He's just kind of a dog about it. He really dives in on that single leg. And, I feel like Montel can take him down. So I agree that he's the favorite. Damon's takedown defense is pretty average himself. Whenever someone wanted to take him down, Luan Lacerda, Farid multiple times, Yusuf Zalal, who's not the best wrestler, Mario Batista, they all took him down with ease. But I just feel like as the fight plays out, he's going to scramble with Montel. Montel's going to put himself in deep submissions like he always does. He's going to get his back taken like he always does. Some low-level guys like Corrales, rest in peace, took his back. JP Byers took his back. So if you can see the fight as a whole, I think it's going to be competitive. So dog or pass. I would have liked that plus 150 on Damon. He does make some mistakes later on in the fight, so I feel like Montel is like to weasel out another minus EV decision. So there's a lot of dogs I like. I agree with Parky, but that's for now. I've kind of eliminated Damon, but we'll see where the line goes. Might come back around on it. All right. Dream fight: Luana Santos, Maria Agapova. Let's see what the comments are saying. The laptop is working in overdrive at the moment. Parky, homeless. Agapova season. I can't disagree. Although those texts that you shared in the Discord are red flags. Parky has 8 units on Preston Parsons. I wouldn't put it past him. I know a lie when I see one. Parky betting a favorite is Doomsday. No, it's not a lie, mate. There's been a few. You have to bet Agapova for the culture. I mean, 420, it's wild, right? Luana Santos is not that good. She's young. She's green. You look at her LFA run, just a bunch of soccer mums. I looked at Juliana Miller fight. I do regret passing on her there. She was like a slight favorite, and Juliana Miller's a bum. And, I just remember her running through, and I was like, man, so round 1 KO. I didn't predict that, but I thought it would be domination. And every time I rewatched that back, that was so sloppy, so hittable. Stephanie Egger was like lighting her up. She couldn't take Stephanie Egger down. And yeah, she's just green. There's a lot of issues there. She's a good grappler, black belt, and a black belt in judo. So she's obviously got that advantage over Maria Agapova. But Agapova's 27 years old. She's already been in the UFC for like 4 years. She was already the more dynamic and dangerous girl. She's got a beautiful 1-2, long reach, good power and dynamism for a girl. She's got those intangibles. Luana Santos is more like a female fighter. She's liable to make errors. But then you got Maria Agapova coming off all these injuries and whatnot. Her initial takedown defense is good, but then her cardio just falls apart. Obviously, she's got brain issues, IQ issues. When she fought composed, looked amazing against Sabina Mazova. Sabina Mazova is one of the worst to ever do it. She just kept walking into the left hand over and over again. She's really good at jumping on the back, Maria Agapova. She'll go for the guillotine as well. So Luana was in deep guillotine against one of these soccer moms. I think it was Waleska Souza. But yeah, that was one of the fights where she actually used wrestling for 3 rounds. She would probably try to do that against Agapova. I don't know how Agapova is going to handle head and arm throws. Her actual takedown defense is solid. We've seen against Jillian, she was all right. Against Marina Moroz, she was decent. She even took Moroz's back. And then she just fell apart rounds 2. She tends to fall apart, cardio-wise. I don't know how much she's been training. I don't think she's going to be worse. Her situation should be better. She's training now. She's operated on the knee. She went into the Jillian fight with a bung knee, and she was doing an interview saying she barely did it in jiu-jitsu and grappling. Can't be any worse than that, right? But who knows? I've seen fighters have surgeries, and you think they're going to be better, but they come in with ring rust and they gas out. And apparently she's not in Denver yet. She missed her flight. So, yeah, it's going to be hot. It's going to be bloody elevation. Both these girls have shitty cardio, but, it's a clear dog or pass. It's just, as Parky would say, how is your risk tolerance, right? You can't go wrong. I was thinking the under 1.5. I don't really like Luana Santos' finishing upside, and she's also never been finished, and she grappled with, really high-level grappler in Bishop. Maybe a KO for Agapova. Maybe you just play the number. But the under 2.5 is a pick'em, and a lot of finishes in Agapova's fights. If she's not acclimated, if Luana Santos is really aggressive. I know a lot of people talking about Luana Santos being fat in the last one and fighting up a weight class and then missing weight. I went on Instagram. She said she was depressed, and she's in shape now. She dropped down to a natural class, so she can only be better. So who knows? The under 2.5 I'm considering. I think there's finishing upside on both sides. What do we got? Blackshear live, Parky. Yeah, maybe, but Blackshear tends to lose round 3, but who knows? Full camp should be good. Skip. Parky, Agapova is red flag city, but still my easiest click. Yeah, I mean the line is huge. You're basically fading Santos. He's not that good. Santos is not that good to be this. I don't understand. Hopefully nobody's parlaying Santos because that's wild. Greg, Agapova is like female Dumas. Man, I think Agapova's got a lot more talent than Dumas. Dumas is just a bum. MMA locks, shares a disease. Yeah, the thyroid. Yeah, it's fine. Hashimoto's, as they call it. Jasmine Juzevic, Fatima client. Yeah, as I mentioned in early lean tease, I would rather play Fatima. She's got all the upside in terms of being a special fighter. Jasmine is Jasmine. You know, she's 35. She's good at what she does. She's aggressive. She's gritty. She's quite a good grappler, actually. She seems to be improving. She started MMA late. But, you know, some favorable matchups. Gabriel Fernandez, no takedown defense. Miranda Maverick, no takedown defense. Tracy Cortez, beat her. She couldn't really adjust. She's too hittable. I think Fatima is the better striker. At slight minus money on Fatima, I don't know how much of an edge I'm getting. She's a decision machine. Could be competitive if it goes to decision. So easy pass for me. Yeah, overs juiced. Feels accurate. Maybe look for live. I'll see how Fatima looks in her debut. It's a show me fight. Save some time on that one, shall we? Alrighty, let's move on. Joshua Van versus Charles Johnson. So I'm not a Johnson fan like myself. You know, I played him once in my whole life. I think that was against Jimmy Flick, and that was by KO. And then every other time I faded the guy. You know, I picked him against Esteban. You just know he's going to lose the first round or the first two rounds, and he's just not going to put any urgency in to get anything done. These guys have a lot of similarities, right? They both dropped the first round. They both build later on in the fight and pick up and make adjustments. And they both have the best round in round two. And then they both taper off in round three when you think they're going to, you know, just demolish their opponent. They just taper off, right? So, for example, Charles won round two against Azamat Maxim, and then round three was extremely competitive, and it looked like it was going to be a split, but then he hit a takedown in round three. Against Jake Hadley, dropped the guy twice in round two. Hadley, you know, notorious gasser, and you're like, oh, he's going to run through him in round three now. And he almost loses that round. I was saying if that wasn't in his hometown, that was super sweaty. I live bet him. In round two before the knockdown. I'm like, man, throw something. Jake Hadley was actually trying harder than Charles Johnson. So the guy doesn't actually build. He builds and then he just stops. He goes back to not throwing anything. Whereas Joshua Van, right, he comes on, he tanks a lot of damage, he eats everything on the guard, he's got his holes. Obviously, he's still learning. He's only 22 years of age. But then when he hurts you in round two, he snowballs. But in round three, you know, the Zalgas fight, after almost knocking him out in round two, competitive round three. Kevin Borjas, you know, he got dropped in round one, then he almost knocks out Borjas in round two. And then round three, again, competitive. Gets dropped again or gets taken down, backpacked by Borjas for a second. So he lets these guys get a second win and get back into it. Obviously, Felipe Bunez, just an old guy. He's a good fighter, but he broke halfway through round one in there. He's like 37 for a flyweight. But yeah, I think this is Joshua Van's toughest opponent. Charles Johnson is not someone he can break. He's got incredible durability, good cardio, incredible submission defense. I don't think this guy's ever going to be subbed. And at that point, it's just what do you give Charles money line? How much value do you give him when he goes to a decision? Six Hound says, you know, who loses round one here? That's a good question. You know, it's going to be a guy backing up, throwing nothing versus a guy pressuring, throwing nothing. So who the hell knows? But yeah, it's a dog or pass for me. I might actually come around on Johnson. You know, I was going to wait for his decision line, just literally the same as his money line, so the books are on it. I wouldn't mind plus 180. I would give Joshua maybe 60%. But yeah, I think Joshua has more power. I think Johnson has more volume. He can mix in the takedowns. I think Joshua Van still has that hole in his grappling. I think his cockiness, he really wants to get a sub. I think his youth and his cockiness is going to cost him a fight in one of these matchups. You know, you look at his level of competition, you know, split over Zalgas. Not much worse than a split over Zalgas for Charles Johnson. Decision over Kevin Borjas, you know, he really should have made Kevin Borjas' fight look like a levels fight, like Costa did, for example, recently. So, yeah, dog or pass. Will I come around? Probably. We'll see. Apparently, Josh Van has been partying and whatnot, so we'll see. Providing Charles doesn't come in with the cardio that he had against Ode Osborne, should be a decent bet. All right, let's move on. Cody Brundage versus Abdul Razak Al Hassan, my first bet of the card. And I have a couple. We'll talk about it. Let me just Let me just go through the comments one more time. We're only on 20 minutes. Luana still is going to have terrible cardio. I don't disagree. Greg Lee, not fighting well, just non-stop beat issues. Correct. I do think Agapova is even crazier in terms of issues. Dumas just smokes weed and beats up women. Agapova is just absolutely toxic. Toxic, crazy, wild lady. There we go, Mr. X. Over-under set at 6.5 dogger passes by Big Steve. I mean, what do you want me to say, mate? This is a value podcast. So the value's on dogs most of the time, especially on this card. Is there a favorite? I mean, Josh Fremd. I said Josh Fremd will pass. So there you go. What are we on so far? 1, 2, 3. We're on 3 dogger passes. 4, 5. Ooh. Might be a push. Shelter. Random houseplant towers spawning in the background. Right. Anyway. Cody Brundage versus Hassan. Yeah, wild fight. Super binary, super spastic. Hard to be backing anyone. I understand people steaming the Cody Brundage line. It was a much bigger dog. There's no way I'll play Hassan. I said play his KO if anything. Obviously, bookies are on it, so might as well just play the money line. I do think in a weird world, Hassan is more trustworthy when this goes long. Like round 3 when he was beating the crap out of Joaquin Buckley, I don't think Cody survives that. But I do think early Cody's faster. He's fought a light heavyweight before. He's explosive. He takes everyone down. He's an issue to deal with early when he's confident. You know, he'll throw, he'll slam you when you're locked in triangles. He's a wild man, and but it's just his control is bad. Hassan will most likely get up. You know, he got up against Buckley multiple times. He got up against Mulcoon like 5 times in round 1. Eventually gassed. I don't think Cody Brundage has the cardio to grapple that much. He got up against Joe Pyfer multiple times, and then eventually was subbed in round 2. Cody Brundage does have a decent arm triangle choke. We haven't seen it in a hot minute. Maybe that's live, but that was the first time someone's subbed Abdul Razak Hassan. So who knows? Yeah, essentially, I just decided not to get involved from a money line point of view. I played the under 1.5 because it essentially went up to pick'em. I played $1.87, which is 3 cents away from pick'em. That makes no sense to me. How can a fight like this not at least be 60%, right? It has to be 60% under. All Razak fights and all Cody Brundage fights, they have to be favored towards the under because Cody Brundage is a flake. He's got power. He almost knocked out durable dudes like Rodolfo Vieira by hitting him behind the ear, and you know he was hurt badly by Dolce from crappy little strikes. Another big black guy that fought him, William Knight, he just broke him, took his back, and pounded him out. When he gets in the bad position, he quits. Surprisingly, he survived over 1.5 against Bo Nickel. Bo Nickel really wanted the sub. That's probably why. Cody Brundage invites volatility, so he has to go under. Hassan is quite durable. That's the issue. And if there's a lot of grappling and wrestling, I don't see Cody submitting him, so that probably makes the fight go over. But yeah, I'm just playing the number. There's a lot of my bets today. There's a number, and I thought almost pick him 50% chance. No way, has to be at least 60% chance. Razak cracks like a truck. He's durable, but we've seen him knocked out with one punch by Karis Williams. He's a welterweight. I've seen Munir Lazez stumble him back, another welterweight. If Cody throws heat like usual, he can get him out of there. I've seen crazier things in MMA. Razak can definitely get him out of there. He can make him quit. So yeah, just held my nose and played a unit at $1.87. I see money's coming on Hassan back again. If you favor Hassan, then you got to favor the under 1.5. It only makes sense. If these guys grapple and they both gas out in the first 3 minutes, then I just know I lost my bet. But yeah, under 1.5 there. Let's move on. Christian Rodriguez versus Julian Erosa. I haven't taped this since I taped it extensively for the early teas. No extra thoughts. Dogger pass. We're at 5 at the moment out of 6.5. So dogger passes. Yeah, it's the same. Christian Rodriguez is more technical, better guard, high guard, more durable versus Erosa, who's erratic, throws a lot of volume, probably the better cardio, rarely slows down. Round 3 is his best round. I don't think he's going to get much grappling off to Christian Rodriguez. He might get a takedown here or there. Joshua Weems did. It was a surprise takedown. I don't think either guy's going to sub each other. Neither has ever been subbed. Both have elite submission defense. 40 fights for Erosa. But yeah, it's just, can C-Rod get moments? Otherwise, this is going to be one of the only striking fights that he's had. He outstruck Cortez on the feet. He outstruck that crappy Greek guy who can just throw an overhand right and he's really bad on the back foot. And that was an accumulation. I don't think he's going to accumulate Julian Erosa, right? Because he doesn't slow down and he can fight on the back foot. So yeah, dog or pass, but I don't know. I'm just not feeling it. I lost the best line, $3.20. Now it's in the $2 range, 50 cents worse. I don't know. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to back Erosa. Like, Erosa is good as a good underdog. When he fought Hakeem Dawodu, who I thought was extremely overrated. Ricardo Ramos was a massive flake. Charles Jourdain, we're seeing how overrated he is. Christian Rodriguez is a good fighter, and he's not a flake, and he's good everywhere. So Erosa kind of has to outstrike him, outgrid him for 3 rounds. Maybe live bet. I thought I liked the overs, but it's a little bit better than minus 200. At best it feels accurate. It's still a Julian Erosa fight. You assume he's going to get cracked and hurt. I don't want to be playing that much chalk on the Julian Erosa over. I thought it would be closer to plus money because of all the knockouts Erosa's copped. So, yeah, no interest in this fight. Hopefully a live bet. What do we got for Cole Mounds? Parky. Hassan should win this by getting up there in age. 37-year-old Hassan in a fight where he's going to give up takedowns. He's the more flat-footed guy, all for cardio. Yeah, no interest. Might just take a fly on Razak 1-2 KO instead of the under. Yeah, I don't think it's that amazing though. That's an issue. Dogfather, under time. Let's go. We will be there no matter what. Correct. We will be there either tilted or, parading our wins like Dogfather loves to do. Alrighty. Gabriel Bonfim, Ange Lusa. So this is my second bet on the card, right? I've got 2 bets. It takes me two weeks of preparation to actually have more than 1 bet. So, that's a joke. But now I'm going to be more aggressive on the UFC now because I'm focusing more on the UFC now. So the more tape I do, the better reads I'll get. So we'll see how that goes. This is actually a really tough card. Otherwise, I would have had maybe 3 or 4 bets minimum. But yeah, what I went for here is the under 1.5, plus 145, $2 or $2.45. That's decent plus money, right? That's it was pick'em and a lot of money came in on the over. I get it, right? Ange Lusa, supposedly very durable, never been finished, but we've seen him hurt by Lazez. We've seen him hurt by AJ Fletcher, almost finished. If AJ Fletcher had any brains, it would have finished him. We've seen him almost finished by Reese McKee, right? I've seen him cracked, wobbled by Brown Battle with a check left hook early in the fight. It doesn't give me the best vibes, despite being extremely durable. Gabriel Bonfim has finished people that have never been finished before, like Muniz has been finished, but never subbed. Trey Waters, he's only lost and never been finished since or before then. So he's, Gabriel Bonfim is a guy that can do it, right? A lot of these dudes have never been finished, and then someone comes along and does it. So he's got good hands, right? Ange Lusa loves to go for takedowns. It just seems extremely obvious that Bonfim will pressure him. Lusa will dive into something. It does seem like he has good choke defense. I've seen a few people attempt to guillotine, Reese McKee on Lusa, and he seems to be good at covering the neck and getting out of it. It's quite physical. Seems like a strong built wrestler. But at the end of the day, I thought that was the best the under 1.5 was going to get, $2.45. It's correlated with the favorite. Bonfim, most of his wins are under 1.5. He was finished in his 1 win by Dalby, just over 1.5 rounds. He was almost knocked out by this Brazilian LFA. He was saved by the bell after round 2, which is only 3-minute rounds. So in 6 minutes, he was almost KO'd. Came back and knocked him out. Was one of the times he didn't get a sub. So then obviously knocked out by Dalby, all for cardio. So there's a lot of issues with Bonfim. I've been saying I don't like his defense. I don't like his aggression. Doesn't pace himself. If he does pace himself here, then I can probably scratch that under 1.5 as a loss. Because Lusa loves to not do anything. He would probably just dance. They would dance around each other, stare at each other. But back in the day, Lusa did have a lot of round 1 finishes. He used to come out, knock people out. That right hand is good. He almost finished AJ Fletcher. He cracked a few people in the UFC. So he's got a little bit of finishing upside too. So I played it because it correlates with Bonfim. And it's actually better than Bonfim's inside the distance, than Bonfim's submission, which is pick'em. So I thought it was the best play on the card. correlating with the big favorite. If it goes over, it goes over, whatever. And I'm giving Angel Looser a little bit of finish upside too. So again, it's another price play. A Gabriel Bonfim fight, you would think it would at least be pick'em, right? Decent plus money. I had to take a stab. 2 unders that are not really exactly like the unders that I would play. More of a price play, but we'll see. Quoth MMA. $1.50 is favorite. Is pass or here, surely. Arosa on the downside, meme, win last fight. I mean, he's not on the downside. He's been fighting like that all the time. I wouldn't really play $1.50 on C-Rod. He's a really bad finisher. Is the under not correlated with the Bonfim finish? Correct, it is. That's what I just addressed. Looser on death door against Rhys McKee of all people and doesn't get finishes himself. Yeah. Looser's weird. This is one of those fights where everyone thinks, he's durable, has insane durability, but if you tape it, it's getting hurt all the time. His finishes come. He just gassed against Darby. He's going to learn from that. Yeah. Add Looser durability play. The over 2.5. Yeah. If Bonfim fixes cardio, he could go far in a division. I think it's more the pacing. The man, it's quite clear every single fight. He comes out, puts pressure, and he forces people to panic shoot on him, and he's looking for that guillotine. So, I mean, Looser does that anyway, so probably won't have to force. We'll see how smart Looser is when it comes to that. Alrighty, Drew Dober, Gene Silva, sick fight. I mentioned this was a sick fight on the early tees. I didn't have much of a read. I didn't tape it all. Revisiting it now, I kind of like Gene Silva striking a lot more. The guy is a lot more calculated. He has a lot more layers to his game. Obviously, Dober is southpaw with that 1-2 in and out, and he just spams that. And, his hardware is so insane that he wins a lot of fights. The pressure, their insane durability, and their insane power. And he just forces that. Over 3 rounds, he gets a knockout a lot of the time. Gene Silva, I rewatched that Vallejos fight a billionth time. I was on him against, what's his name? Jourdain. And, the guy almost killed Jourdain with one lead check hook. He's got insane power. And then that uppercut was also brutal. Against Kevin Vallejos, a lot of people are saying Drew Dober will pressure. Vallejos pressured a lot. They got a lot of similarities. Vallejos is a short, stocky, powerful Argentinian. And he was pressuring Gene Silva, and Silva was running away from him. He was running away. He was conceding. You could tell that he values footwork and he values distance management a lot, which is it's smart. And then as soon as he got a couple of seconds in the center of the cage, then he started attacking. And then round 2, he had a lot more. He held the center of the cage a lot more, and that's when he started doing all the damage. Almost knocked out Vallejos. I think this guy hits extremely hard. Obviously, he's moving up in weight. Will the power translate? There's a high chance that it does translate a bit like Pereira. Maybe he hits harder at lightweight. We'll see. But yeah, Drew Dober, quite hittable. A lot worse defense. Gene Silva kind of covers up, high guard. He's a great counter striker. Drew Dober doesn't really counter much. So yeah, I like Silva. I like the fact that he dishes out brutal damage in all facets. He throws knees. He can switch stances. As I mentioned, he can counter. Even in the clinch, he landed a knee, an elbow against Vallejos. He landed some brutal elbows when defending takedowns against Jourdain. He turned Jourdain into a wrestler, which we haven't seen in the UFC. And that uppercut was brutal. So just based on the variation of strikes and options that he has, I favor him. But then you kind of have to even it out. It's a big step up in level of competition. Drew Dober hurts everyone himself. How is Gene Silva going to handle that left hand from Dober and the pressure? His cardio didn't look too flashy against Jourdain before he landed a knockout. He looked to be slowing down. Elevation. So I don't think I'm getting an edge here, so easy pass. The under 1.5, it's also tempting me. It's a pick'em, but it feels like it might be accurate. Does it go under? Does it go over? 50% chance. Probably pass. Subhuman. Erosa for the win. Yeah, it's dog pass. But maybe not at the number. Yeah, Erosa decision, possibly. Tempted on Bonfim round 1, waiting to see prices before under poke. Dog, you already told me you played the under. You freaking dog, you lied to me. Every time I asked for the lock, you said under 1.5. If Gene beats Dober, do you think Gene should stay at lightweight or go back to featherweight? I mean, featherweight is his weight class, so it's up to him. Silva KO, maybe. Gene Silva decision for me. Yeah, it's a nice, juicy number. Think it translates. Maybe decision. Makes sense, dog. Easy pass. I mean, this is an easy pass, mate. Tell me how you would have a strong read on this fight. Alrighty, speaking of no passes, Santiago Ponzinibbio, Muslim Salikov. So here we go, my third bet of the card. Another under. I've got 562 on Doesn't Go, and I've got Salikov Ponzinibbio under 2.5 rounds, $400 on it, which is a pick'em. I wrote on my notes before the props came out that the under 2.5 should be 60%. Two extremely washed guys, 37 versus 40. I think Ponzinibbio was washed back in 2021 when he came off that career-ending, life-ending injuries and surgeries and whatnot, and then got knocked out by the Leech. And even then, before that, he was chinny. I remember when he was fighting Mike Perry, he really hated Perry's pressure. And yeah, so he's always been chinny. Now he's just washed. Gives out moments extremely efficiently to everyone. Hands low, doesn't have any defense. Both these guys are going to be live to get cracked by the right hand. We've seen Muslim get put out cold by a Randy Brown one hand. Randy Brown hits hard, but he doesn't really get anyone out of there with one punch. So that's impressive. His durability seems to have fallen off a cliff, getting hurt by Nicholas Dalby, Andre Fiala. Jing Liang was the first time he was knocked out. But he was hurt by Francisco Trinaldo. And at the same token, he almost killed Trinaldo with that overhand right. So both are going to be live with the overhand right. That's Ponzinibbio's best weapon. That's Salikov's best weapon. He killed Taleb, Trinaldo, Ricky Rainey. So it's just like who goes down first. Ponzinibbio should be the favorite. He's got a lot more volume. He's gritty. He'll fight for your money. Salikov just kind of seems completely done. He wants his low output affair. The cardio just falls off a cliff. His ground game is still an issue. So yeah, but I wish I had that better line on Salikov plus 180. Someone hit it today. I've just been thinking about it over and over again. I was like, is there a better way to play this other than playing an extremely washed Muslim? If he gets out of round 1, I just feel like Santiago is going to build. I'll play it a little bit around 3 KO for Pons, because I said I would. It's paying $10. I'll live bet Ponzinibbio. So at the moment, I have the under 2.5, and it doesn't go. And yeah, I thought about the under 1.5, but I think that correlates with Muslim. But then again, Santiago, even though he's going to win minutes, I think he can get caught in any round, right? He gives up moments, like that Morono fight, for example. He was winning round 1, he was winning round 2, and then Morono just kept catching him, and that was fat, out of shape Morono, and he looked like he was gassing as well. So I think Muslim can do that too. Muslim's fight's extremely competitive, and then he just lands a big moment. I think he's live to spinning wheel kick Santiago as well. So it's one of those fights. It's clear dog or pass. My second last dog or pass. So yeah, I might get on Muslim as well. Hopefully the line comes back in, but at the moment I have the unders. It can be tilting. There's a lot of fights going to decision. Michel Pereira, Jeff Neal, but if you look properly into those fights, Jeff Neal, that was a sick Jeff Neal, not the same guy. Michel Pereira doesn't seem to hit anywhere near as hard at welterweight, and obviously he's extremely durable. Morono, that's pretty impressive to knock out Morono. A lot of people couldn't do it. And then Kevin Holland, dropped him like a billion times, and he wasn't even using his right hand, his best weapon. So, yeah, I think don't overthink it. I might just add more and hope for the best. Hope that Muslim is completely washed. Because I passed on the under 2.5 against Randy Brown, and I hated myself. I did not expect it to be so easy. So, I think Salikov is finally at a crossroads. But still dog a pass. Alrighty, main event, and finish with one more dog a pass. I just finished off. I did a little bit more tape before going live. I didn't have the best read on this fight. I did say that it's Tracy Cortez or nothing after the early tease, and I said I would do a little bit more tape. And, the line hasn't really been budging. I see a lot of people that I know on Cortez, and some of the people I respect are like, no, thank you. She's got a lot to do in a 5-rounder, bit of a levels fight. But, Rebus should have been a levels fight. I think Rebus had a lot more volume and I would say a lot more power, and she can throw kicks and punches, and I think her jiu-jitsu is better. And she still lost, 4-1. I think the accurate scorecard was 4-3. But she kept pulling guard and throwing head and arm throws and getting her back taken. Tracy's got the advantage of, being a lot more traditional wrestler, the better wrestler as well. Rose should have some good get-ups, but I do think that Tracy's cardio is not as good as Rebus's. Rose is weird, she's had a lot of 5-rounders, and she's won round 5 against Weili Zhang, but then against Rebus, and she won round 5 against Rebus, but I think that was more Rebus, extremely low IQ. But she looked tired, 2 rounds in, and she looked flat in a couple of those rounds. Rose just seems to just dance around and do the bare minimum now. She's still a technical boxer, but a lot of people expected her to knock out Rebus. I didn't see much power in that fight. Rebus is quite chinny. Cortez is hittable, but she does have that Mexican chin. I mentioned that the over 4.5 would probably be minus 200. It's just even worse than that. And it's hard not to say that it's not accurate. I don't see a finish on either side. If anything, Rose probably pulls out one of those weird KOs, like she has done a few times over Weili and Joanna. 2 durable girls. So, we've seen Cortez hurt by a Stephanie Egger upkick and even a Justin Kish overhand right. So anything's possible, but I think Cortez is going to win like a really jammy, competitive, grapple-heavy decision. Yeah, she doesn't have much finishing upside. I wish Cortez was a bit better other than just being a general boxer, wrestler. It all depends on Rose here. I don't think Rose is going to cover minus 200. It's going to be competitive, but I'm not really. This is not my favorite underdog as of yet. I know a lot of people have played her. A lot of people I respect. But yeah, I'll do some more tape. This is the one that I haven't done as much tape on. Let me just see what. If you played Cortez, I would play Cortez by decision. Cortez gets a lot of people's backs, but awful rear naked choke technique. I don't envision her submitting someone like Rose. What do we have? $2.80, and her decision is $3.40. So you get 60 cents more for Tracy decision. I think it's pretty safe. It's going to be a low output, horrible fight. So, yeah, maybe sprinkle some Cortez decision. Leave it at that. Or maybe, Rose decision is awful. It's still plus money, though. If you favor that side, if you think she's going to be another minus EV, like over Rebus, Rose decision plus 115. But yeah, that's where we're at. So let's go over things again and then call it a day, shall we? Josh Fremd or pass. Man, I just think I'm close. My gut is screaming, fade this bum, Andre Petroski. Could be your last chance. But yeah, Josh Fremd is just showed too many red flags in the UFC. But still, it's him or pass. Maybe some unders. Montel Jackson, it's Blackshear or pass. Juan dos Santos, Agapova or pass. Under 2.5 has my attention. I'll have a look at that. Fatima Jasmine, clear pass all around. Charles Johnson will pass. I played the under 1.5 but almost pick him in Brundage Hassan. It's risky, but this fight should be 60 to 65% for the under. It makes no sense. Erosa or pass, maybe Erosa decision for minimum stake. Lusa Bonfin, I played the under 1.5. It's a little bit scary because Lusa's never been finished, but it correlates with Bonfin. He's a massive favorite. He's going to be aggressive, hopefully. So we'll see how that goes. Gene Silva, Drew Dober. It was Gene Silva or pass for me, but I think I'm just going to leave this fight. And Santiago Ponzinibbio Salikov, I played it doesn't go and under 2.5. I think the 2.5 should be at least 60% favored. Both these guys are finishing upside. I might get on some Salikov small pre, and then I'll look to live bet Santiago, and I'll probably poke Santiago Ponzinibbio round 3 because I said I would, and I'm done passing on winning bets, so I'll pay it for the culture. And Cortez and pass, but I'm not super strongly passionate about it. No favorite bets. Actually, Salikov Ponzinibbio under, though it doesn't go. That's a favorite bet. That's one where I feel like it could look the most hindsight best bet and obvious. All these other unders, Razak, probably like the Razak under more than the Lusa Bonfin because don't trust Bonfin, but we'll see. All right, what do we got? And we'll get out of here. Definitely not betting on the guy who eats punches versus Gene Silva Pava. Yeah, that makes sense. What do you think of fight ends by KO? Sorry, man, I don't know which fight, but the fight ends by KO in the co-main event, Salikov. I was looking at that. It's the same as doesn't go. So if you want to get around limits, you can play that. Play Salikov, in my opinion, and then just look for live. Yeah, that's the thing. But Salikov, he can lose round 1. He got dropped by bloody Dalby at the end of round 1 in a fight that he was winning. That's the issue. Both these guys just live to get bonked at any point. Cortez haven't got wild, but Cortez, the move makes no sense in that line. Should get wider. Rebus is not a true flyweight. No, she isn't. Rose is a bloated flyweight. Yes, she is. Rose is quite chubby at this weight class. No worries. Thank you very much. Early one. Hopefully that makes sense. You got a couple bets, so you can't make fun of me. And I was gonna do, because I did an early one, I was going to do some regionals, maybe a regional podcast this week. But I'm choosing between LFA, which traditionally no one really cares about when I do a podcast, and PFL Arabs. So disgusting. So I'm probably just going to skip it. Focus on UFC for next week. I have some money lines that I'm keeping an eye on. So yeah, I'm going to stay true to my new thing. Focus on the UFC. Get back to my bread and butter. Make more plays, better reads. 5-6 plays per card. Make some big money. I'm getting married. I need more money. Alrighty. Riding high, Steve, bro. Give me 2-leg safe parlay, please. Oh wow, this is the card for safe parlays. I'll tell you that. Let me tell you right now. Let me tell you something. All right. Let me tell you something. All right. Safe parlay. Here we go. Yeah. Jesus. You're asking a lot, my friend. You're asking a lot. I can't do it. There's nothing here. Oh, yeah. You can parlay Muslim Salako upon Namibia. It doesn't go. And you can play Hassan Cody Brundage under 2.5 rounds, $1.30 on Bet365. Bet365 always has the better under 2.5s. If you don't have that, the fight doesn't start round 3. It's probably going to be the same price. Usually in other books, this fight doesn't start round 3. It's the same as Bet365's under 2.5. So play that. I think that should be pretty safe. It probably still loses because we're elevation, and I'll be careful with some finishes with these guys get gassed and sloppy. But yeah, it's a tough card. Follow me on Twitter, man. Follow me on Twitter. I'm gonna have a safe parlay piece between probably some boxing, PFL, MENA, LFA. We'll find some safe parlay pieces. Dogfather, LFA, no thank you. Riding high, just parlay the Jasmine and Charles Johnson overs. Yeah, I would go for. I think Charles Johnson is live for a sub. I would go for Jasmine overs and the main event over. It's horrible, but what can you do? Probably the safest overs in my opinion. Subhuman, still going to make fun of you. Yeah, that's right. Make fun of me. Riding high, cheers, bro, legend. Steve never lets me down. That's it, mate. I only let my female companions down. Alrighty, like and subscribe, leave a comment. Good for the algo. Thank you very much. Peace out.